I believe that you have agency in your life. I don't think that you're a victim. You might be disadvantaged, you might have a harder go of it, but I truly believe that anyone with a good work ethic can make it in this country. And with that said, yes, you are screwed.
Thanks for watching Blimey Cow. This episode is sponsored by Squarespace and made possible by viewers like you.
This is the modern American story. This is the life of the modern American child. You're fed a steady diet of cartoons and sugary cereals with the cartoons on them. Don't worry, one day you'll find out how bad both of these things were for your body in the most formative years. Unfortunately, by then the damage has already been done. If you somehow avoided diabetes, you most definitely didn't avoid a fear of reading. Television is just way more simple to comprehend. It prepares your mind for the 24-hour news cycle that you will be required to consume in adulthood.
And agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
If your parents both stuck around, well, congratulations, number one, you hit the jackpot. If they split up when you were young, though, you get the privilege of spending your most fruitful, productive years trying to process the loss of the most fundamental, foundational institution in your life. I know you'll never fully believe this, but I promise it wasn't your fault. Oh, is it time for school already? Hey, remember how cartoons stole your ability to read? School steals your ability to learn. It only takes 8 hours a day to completely suck the joy out of learning. Now, it's a job. In fact, you might get into your 30s, mid-20s if you're lucky, before you realize that learning is actually fun. Unfortunately, by then, you're straddled with debt and can't possibly make time to learn anything that actually interests you. Ironically, all of your debt is from learning, even though you can't really point to much that you learned. It was about the experience, you were told. The experience of spending $80,000. So you're stuck in a job not even in your field to pay back a loan you didn't want to take out, and on your off days, you're most definitely just playing video games or watching TV because that's what you did as a child, and those were the good old days. That was when things were good. It's just hard to find the motivation to do much of anything other than the bare minimum. This is called conditioning. You've been conditioned your whole life just to sit there, eating, watching, sleeping, paying, working, eating, watching, sleeping, paying, working. And maybe if you'd been born 10 or 20 years ago, you could imagine a world where you might actually be able to buy a house and build some equity instead of just overpaying for rent, but that's not the world we live in anymore, is it? You'll own nothing and you'll be happy, my friend.
The future is built by us.
Speaking of happy, you're not. And since no one ever explained to you this very complicated idea that the foods that go into your body have an effect on your brain, you'll probably just keep eating processed foods, hydrogenated oils, and sugar until the day that you die of heart disease before you've ever paid off that student loan. Don't worry though, your student loans aren't passed on to the kids you don't have. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Or maybe you will live long enough to finally pay off all your student loans for the degrees you're not actually using. You'll be able to start saving up for a down payment on a house. 20% of $400,000. All of this money and anxiety and conditioning might even stop you from doing the one thing that might actually give your life some meaning: settling down and starting a family. Why would you do that? Your 20s are supposed to be about fun, not responsibility. It's about going out to the bar with your buddies. It's about having lots of yes, with random people, not just one person that you've actually committed to. No, wait, commitment? That's terrible. The only good commitments are loans and leases. You shouldn't have any others until you're at least 30. Probably don't have kids at all either, because the news these days, it's just, you don't want them to go through that. It's too sad. So, yeah, I mean, you're screwed. You didn't really get much of a real chance. You were conditioned from a young age to believe you weren't capable of doing pretty much of anything. But here's the honest truth. The fact that pretty much everyone believes this gives you quite an advantage once you realize it's a lie. If you read a book, actually I could just end the statement there, but I'll continue. If you read a book about how to do something, you are positioned better than 95% of your peers, and that's a low ball estimate.
Imagine the applications of that.
So yeah, the deck is stacked against you, sure. You probably shouldn't have let idiots convince you to take out college debt. You probably should have spent more time reading as a child. You probably shouldn't eat after 7 p.m. You probably aren't gonna be able to afford a house until the market completely collapses, fingers crossed. Look, I know a lot of people are gonna get hurt if the market crashes, but like, come on. This is unbelievable. It's either you or me. It's either you or me. But there are things you can do to stand out and improve your situation. You just have to do it. I mean, look around, guys. Look around. We're not sending our best. You don't even have to try that hard to make things happen. You just have to try, because nobody else really is. So, yeah, you're screwed, but you don't have to be. And that is the one positive thing that just keeps getting me up in the morning. You know, an incredibly easy way to stand out is to have a website you can point people to. Whether it's a blog or a portfolio or an online store, your own site, your own URL, it makes you look professional. We built our sites using Squarespace because they look amazing and they're incredibly easy to use. Squarespace makes everything so simple, from email marketing to video creation with the Squarespace Video Studio app to site analytics. It's all 1 or 2 clicks away and easy to navigate. All of their templates look amazing and you can customize them to look and do whatever you want. So let me ask you, what kind of project are you ready to start? It's time to finally build that website you've been putting off. Squarespace helps us run our business, and they can help you too. If you want your own space on the web, do it with Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to our link squarespace.com/cow, because there, you're going to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/cow. Look, I heard that millennials are the most criticized generation, but the ones who criticize them the most are millennials. They were split off, some that had less opportunities and some that had more opportunities. And so the ones who had less opportunities are like, oh, life is terrible, which it kind of is. And then the ones that had more are like, yeah, well, millennials have a bad rap because of these other people who are lazy.
Interesting.